I was at one of my son's basketball games and in the parking lot of a local private school. And I witnessed a man come and rip the baby out of a woman's arms and throw her to the ground and take off running with the baby. And in that moment, I had my own children. They were in the car. And I took off after the man and the baby. And as he tried to put the baby in the car, I put myself physically in between the door and the baby so he couldn't shut the door and take off. And in that moment, that allowed enough time for the mother to come and get the child while I was distracting and fighting off the man. It turns out that the man was the baby's father, so it was domestic violence and potential kidnapping right there. And the police were called, and I had to actually be a witness in the court case that ensued. So the court situation was stressful, to say the least, because the defense tried to paint me as a discredited witness. And the way they did that is to try to come at me that I was a man-hater, that I was a feminist, that I was very involved in women's issues locally, and somehow that would play to the jury that I was biased in this witnessing. So it was very difficult for me to stand up and to be strong for the mother. But I had a lot of opportunity to look the other way, to not get involved, and for goodness sakes, get pulled into a court case. But it just felt so important to me, knowing so much of that could have gone unspoken. And I think the one person that I worried the most about was the baby, because I feel that the mother could get help, the father clearly needed help, but the baby, we know more and more now about trauma and being in the middle of domestic violence. And I thought a lot about that little baby for the years since. Well, there was a split second when I saw this unfolding, when I had a choice. I could have easily shut the door and turned my face away from it. But I made a decision to step into it. And in that moment, I feel like I was standing up not only for the woman that was just pushed on the ground, but for that baby. And because I yelled out and then I took action, other people in the parking lot came as well. And that can be a dangerous situation to make that decision, but I think if you make a lot of noise and you make a decision to get involved, others will then join forces, and that's really what happened. We stopped the situation until the police could come. I think there was a myth in the past about children being resilient. And now we know through brain science and a lot of research that's happened in the past few years that children are actually traumatized by the people that are supposed to care for them and make them safe. So it's my real passion to make sure that we train both men and women in relationship to always put their children first, and maybe that would de-escalate a situation if they were just thinking about the damage that they were doing in that moment to their own children. If you're at work or if you're at home, you hear something, you witness something, get somebody involved, call somebody. If you feel that it's too physically dangerous to do what I did, yell out and get somebody else. Join forces together to stop domestic violence.